Why you can't stop doom scrolling. According to evolution, right now, you are staring at a glowing rectangle of glass. You are pulling down on the screen with your thumb, waiting for a little spinning wheel to refresh, hoping for a new headline, a new video, or a new reason to feel slightly panicked. You know it is making you anxious. You know you should put the phone down and close your eyes, but your thumb pulls down again anyway. Why do you do this to yourself? You might think it is a modern flaw, a simple lack of willpower, or an addiction to technology engineered by Silicon Valley billionaires. But the real answer is far stranger, much older, and deeply embedded in the survival design of your prehistoric brain. The modern smartphone did not create doom scrolling. It merely built a hyper-efficient highway to an ancient evolutionary survival mechanism that kept your ancestors alive in a world full of hidden teeth. To understand why your brain actively seeks out bad news, you have to look at the ancestral environment that shaped your psychology. For roughly 99% of human evolutionary history, your ancestors did not live in comfortable houses with locked doors and grocery stores down the street. They lived in the Pleistocene epoch, an environment where a single miscalculation meant immediate death. In that brutal world, information was not a source of entertainment, it was the ultimate currency of survival. If an ancient human sitting by a fire heard a rustle in the bushes, they had two choices. They could assume it was just the wind, or they could assume it was a hidden saber-toothed cat waiting to spring. The human who assumed it was the wind was occasionally right, but eventually they were wrong, and their genes disappeared from the evolutionary pool. The human who assumed it was a lethal threat was wrong most of the time, but they survived every single night to pass on their hyper-vigilant, anxious genes to the next generation. You are the direct descendant of the paranoid survivor. What kind of threats did your ancestors have to look out for on a daily basis? Dr. John Tooby and Dr. Leda Cosmides, pioneering evolutionary psychologists at the University of California, Santa Barbara, pioneered the concept that our modern skulls house a Stone Age mind. This means your brain is systematically wired to prioritize negative data over positive data because a failure to notice a threat carried a much higher evolutionary cost than a failure to notice a reward. If you miss out on a bush full of sweet berries today, you can always find food tomorrow. If you miss out on noticing the fresh tracks of a rival tribe or a venomous snake, there is no tomorrow. Evolutionary biologists call this the negativity bias. Your brain is not designed to make you happy or peaceful. It is designed to keep you alive. In nature, bad news is always more urgent than good news. Because of this, your amygdala, the ancient almond-shaped emotional processing center deep inside your temporal lobes, reacts much faster and more intensely to threats than to rewards. Are you starting to see how this connects to the digital feed in your hand? When you open a social media app today, you are not stepping into a community. You are stepping into a digital savanna. The algorithm does not care about your mental well-being. It cares about your attention, and it has figured out exactly how to exploit your ancestral negativity bias. Every time you see a terrifying headline about an economic collapse, a new virus, an impending climate disaster, or a violent conflict, your ancient Stone Age brain does not realize that the threat is happening thousands of miles away across an ocean. Your brain processes that digital text as an immediate, local threat to your personal survival. It screams at you that there is a predator nearby and that you must gather more data to protect yourself. Your heart rate increases slightly, your stress hormones spike, and your thumb pulls down to refresh the feed again. Why does your brain demand that you keep reading the very things that terrify you? This brings us to a fascinating counterintuitive twist discovered by Dr. Paul Slovic, a renowned psychologist at the University of Oregon who has studied human risk perception for decades. His research reveals that when humans feel threatened or uncertain, our natural instinct is not to run away from the information, but to consume as much of it as possible to regain a sense of control. We believe that if we just read one more article, if we just find out exactly how bad the situation is, we will finally know how to protect ourselves. but the digital world breaks this survival mechanism entirely. In the ancient past, a threat had a physical boundary. A storm would pass, a predator would move on, or a rival tribe would retreat. Once the danger subsided, your nervous system could return to a state of calm. The news feed has no boundary. It is an infinite, bottomless scroll of global misery, updating every single second of every single day. You are trying to solve an infinite mathematical equation of global tragedy using a brain that was designed to calculate local environmental risks within a tribe of only 150 people. Think about the sheer scale of information your ancestors processed compared to what you absorb over breakfast. An ancient human might hear about 3 major tragedies in their entire lifetime. You see 3 major tragedies before you even finish brushing your teeth. Because the human brain cannot naturally comprehend the scale of the internet, it treats every single global tragedy on your feed as if it is happening right outside your cave door. Your evolutionary survival strategy has turned into a psychological trap. You keep scrolling because your brain genuinely believes that stopping will leave you vulnerable to the predator hidden in the grass. This creates a profound modern mirror. The very survival mechanism that kept your ancestors alive on the prehistoric savanna is now the exact thing that drains your cognitive energy, disrupts your sleep, and fills your modern life with chronic anxiety. You are not broken, and your willpower is not fundamentally flawed. You are simply operating a piece of biological machinery designed for a high-risk physical wilderness inside a hyper-stimulated digital maze. The next time you find yourself doom-scrolling at 2 o'clock in the morning, stop and look at your thumb. Realize that your brain is just trying to protect you from a saber-toothed cat that does not exist anymore. You can thank your ancestors for the survival instinct that kept them alive through the Ice Age, but you must also recognize when that instinct is no longer serving you. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you are going to face the ultimate modern test. You will have to look at the infinite scroll, consciously override 2 million years of evolutionary programming, and actively choose to put the glowing rectangle away.